Electrocompaniet is one of the companies that I personally like. I mean, it's one of the things I hope to get, in the future. It's been around for, how long has the company been around?
Years. Since 1973, so 44 years now.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest companies.
Right.
And it's always had, even back then, if I recall correctly, it's always had this similar design, right? It's kind of always looked kind of like, back in the days when everything was ugly,
Right.
Electrocompaniet was elegant.
It's got that classy black and gold kind of look, and that's been refined over the years, but it's pretty much the way it's always looked.
Yeah, because I remember all the old stuff used to be very kind of ugly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're on the technical end. So can you, first off, let's start on the outside. It's aluminum?
It's a steel case with a acrylic faceplate.
Okay.
So it's a steel case.
And you have your amplifiers, you have preamps. What's the complete line, everything you carry?
The company became famous for its amplifiers. Mm-hmm. Here we have the 600-watt Nemo monoblocks. We also have 400-watt, 250-watt stereo amplifier and integrated amplifiers like that one over there, mm-hmm. which is 150-watt integrated. Mm-hmm. And now we've got a complete line of source devices as well as a preamp, a phono stage. We've got a reference CD player. We have a media player, digital media player. We have a DAC. We also have a turntable, which we're not showing today. So we have a full line of source devices as well as amps.
Is the turntable new?
Turntable is new, yes.
When did it come out?
About a year ago it came out.
I know Levinson came out with a turntable, and everybody's coming out with a turntable now.
Right.
Does somebody else make your turntable? Or
no, actually, we make it. Everything is designed and manufactured in Norway.
Oh,
so
okay, right.
Nothing from China.
Yeah, because I think the Levinson is like VPI and yeah.
Right.
But you guys did it in Norway.
Correct. We have our own factory in Norway. The engineering team is there, mm-hmm. so all the design.
The digital player, what kind of digital media does that play? Is that also streaming?
It'll stream from the internet, from the LAN. Mm-hmm. It'll take an internal SATA hard drive, mm-hmm. or you can plug in a USB device.
Okay.
It connects via Wi-Fi or Ethernet.
Okay.
So it's a very versatile streaming device and kind of a media player. For audio, it doesn't matter. Either one will work, but that also supports video. So for video, you want to have an Ethernet connection.
Oh, all right. Okay. Because I know in the first, a while back, Ethernet was the way to go.
Right,
the cable,
right.
Yeah, you have a new product also. These little speakers with the amp built in on the bottom, and it's gold and it's silver.
Correct. That's our lifestyle product, which is brand new. Mm-hmm. So we have several units in the line here. We have the integrated speaker with amplifier and DAC built in. That's a 150-watt Class AB amplifier.
And does it have an input, or does it just, is it like a digital audio input, or?
It'll stream, and it can also take the USB hard drive.
Okay.
It'll stream from the LAN or the internet. Uh-huh. Or you can also connect Toslink.
Optical.
SPDIF, optical.
Yeah, just like the Apple TVs and all the other stuff. Yeah, a little optical.
So we have two models we're showing here. The tall unit has a speaker built in, and then the short unit is just basically the streamer, and then you can use some speakers. We have speakers that are both masters with the streamer built in, and slave units that are just wireless speakers.
Can you use different speakers with that other smaller unit?
No.
You have to use the Electrocompaniet speakers.
Well, we do have one small amplifier like that with standard RCA outputs. Then you can use those with any speakers. But the ones we're looking at here are only for using with our speakers.
You're listening to the UnCommonCore podcast with your host Thomas Howell.
Now I noticed you have, the way that it's hooked up now, do the speakers come with, in the configuration they're in, or can you get the satellites without the subwoofers, kind of like the old WAMs,
These are, as you see them here, they come just like that.
Oh, okay.
These are rather unique speakers.
Okay.
We should just point out a couple things. This is a cast aluminum enclosure.
Oh, all right.
Hand ground and hand polished. So these are built like fine automobiles.
Right, because I remember you were like different. It was like there was like the Lin, and there was this other, the Mark Levinson,
right.
And then there was these guys over here, the Electrocompaniet. You want to listen to these guys too when you're in the high-end showroom.
Exactly.
Right, and it was like, wow, that looks a lot better. I mean, Okay, great. Well, let me talk to the other guy here, and then you know about the price and all of that stuff.
I can help you out there.
And what's your name?
Peter Welikoff.
Okay, so what are the prices of all of these?
Well, on the lifestyle product, which we were showing you, the master speaker is $900, and the slave, so to speak, is $800. So, you just need one master for every zone. and then you just use a slave throughout the rest of that zone.
And you detach them, or is that one that we're looking at comes like
The
that?
speaker that you're looking at comes in different finishes. So the accent bands on the bottom currently come in gloss black, copper, and aluminum. We're in the process of adding a wide selection of accent bands and a wide selection of grills, and they're all consumer replaceable. So you can actually change dramatically the appearance of the speaker by just changing the grill and accent bands.
Right.
And you know, we live in a world where people are buying product both with their ears and their eyes, and
Nowadays,
you have
yeah.
to be able to accommodate it. The component to the right there comes in 3 versions: an amp only, a streamer only, and an amp and a streamer. So that's a amp and streamer combined, and again comes in different accent bands. But it basically that effectively, in some regards, replaces a conventional stereo system.
Right, and what's the dimensions on that?
You're probably about 6 by 6 by 4 inches.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
looks
very,
like
it's about the size of a hardcover book.
yeah, it looks like maybe like a little Apple server or something
Yeah,
like that.
correct.
About that size.
But there you've got your power amplifier, you've got your streamer. The consumer has all the access to all the music in the world, whether it be internet radio, Tidal, Spotify, and the list just go on and on and on. MQA.
Is there a
Deezer,
display
Napster.
of some sort on it?
There is on the very top, which will allow you to do key controls, but it really is designed, both that speaker, the Easy Living speaker, and components are designed to be controlled by any smart device,
So
whether it be
your
Apple,
phone.
Android, your
Right.
phone, your tablet, whatever it might be.
So you have a little app that comes with it.
That is correct. It's on the App Store, and you can download it. It's currently on there, and it's extremely intuitive to use.
Is this going to be available only in the dealers that sell
No.
the
The distribution, the marketing, the sales strategy between the classic series that you're seeing over there and Easy Living are very, very different.
Right, that's what I figured.
That is
So it's
correct.
going to be easier to get these.
That
I
is
suppose-
correct,
I suppose.
yes.
Right. So the sound quality, I imagine that Electrocompaniet is known for is clean. It's kind of a Norwegian. It's very clean.
Yes.
And
This
musical.
product,
musical.
yes, this product reflects a very similar, not exactly the same sound signature. The product next to it, for me, I find very, very interesting. So that actually bridges
The one in
easy-
between, you mean
Yes,
the component?
yes.
It's a 17-inch wide piece?
Yes. So what's interesting about this component here, this bridges, so to speak, classic series with Easy Living. It's bridging audiophile performance with contemporary design and features. So what you have in here is an integrated amp, 150 watts into 8. I think it's 300 approximately into 4, and it's stable down to 2 ohms. It's about 400 watts into 2. But the key thing is you have a built-in DAC, high-res DAC. You have a streamer built in here. So you're using the same app, and you have access to the same streaming features that Easy Living has. So it's a real blend between Classic Series and Easy Living. So it's giving you, in effect, the best
But
of both
it
worlds.
has power built in, so you
is
have a
correct.
passive speaker for this?
No, we don't. You can use this with any
Any
passive speaker.
right.
Same thing with this product here.
Right,
You know,
right.
Within Easy Living, this speaker here, that's designed for an all-in-one solution.
Right.
If
right.
somebody has a pair of legacy speakers that they like, but they want to get rid of
'Cause you
all of
don't-
their gear, then they buy that.
Because you don't really have like the little high-end bookshelf speakers, right? Like like a ProAC or something like that, which is one of the ones I like. And you could couple with this.
Not at the moment, but that will drive any speaker like that.
What basically is the price range of the other gear here? I don't know if we went over. it.
By audiophile standards, are very, very competitive.
Yeah, they've always have been right up there.
Yeah. So the mono blocks range from 4,000 to a high of 7,800. That's
so
for
it's
what
under
they're
10
offering.
grand.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very competitive. We have this
pair.
piece. No, that's each.
Each, okay.
The stereo amplifier is 6,800.
Okay.
You know, the preamplifier, by audiophile standards, it's a reference dual mono design, and that's $4,000.
Right.
So the products are very, very high performance. You look at the build quality, and the feature set is very, very good, but it's all at very, very competitive prices. The CD player, which is a reference CD player, which is fourth or fifth generation, is $5,300. Right. I mean, there are reference CD players comparable to that are over 20 grand.
Right.
So we're offering what we think is a beautiful industrial design, some great technology, great build quality at very, very competitive prices.
Because it's at that price, you know what I
yes.
mean? Unless you're sort of
I
wealthy,
call it
it's hard to...
yeah, it's affordable high end.
Right.
It's not some of these ridiculous prices, but yet you're getting the level of performance of some of the finest
When I
units
used
out
to be honest, I used to work a little bit in the high-end audio, and some people would get into it and they'd really go crazy and they'd spend all this money on the stuff, and I'd run into them 20 years later and they didn't have anything anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But this is kind of the point where people have the stuff, they listen to the music, they're happy, and they settle in. And so I think it's that kind of a product. That's why I
Right.
like it.
Yeah, it's a long-term product.
Right.
This kind of industrial design, to be able to maintain that and slowly evolve it over decades and decades, is a real compliment to its original design.
Fantastic.
Thank
I
you.
really
Pleasure.
appreciate it. My name's Tom Howell from
Thank you, Tom.
UnCommonCore Podcast. Tell us who you are and then what you were about to say.
Okay. My name is Steve Guttenberg, and I write for CNET. I have a blog on CNET. It's weird. It's still a blog. There are blogs, and it's
the
called
V-blog or something, right?
yeah. Well, mine is called the Audiophiliac.
Okay.
It's like audio as a disease, as an obsession.
Okay, that's appropriate.
So I cover audio and music and technology related to sound. You know, it's a wide range of things that I cover, but a lot of product reviews, but not exclusively product reviews.
So
We were talking about the culture of audiophiles.
right.
And let's say, you may have noticed that audiophiles tend to be, let's say, 50 plus. I'm being-
White
being
also,
generous. And white, yes.
middle-aged and male.
Middle-aged and seniors. But anyway, the thing that is interesting is those people, of which I am one.
Right. It's not our fault. It's
yeah.
just that's who happens to
I'm not
attract.
putting those people down because I
Yeah.
am in that group. But those people, when they were in their 20s and 30s, were into music, as many generations are, but since it was in that time, meaning the late 60s and 70s and stuff, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't a lot of other distractions. And music was a big part of the culture. And if you were a man, and you were, especially if you were single, and you like music, you probably had a really nice hi-fi.
Yeah, it was like the man cave thing. The beginning of the man cave.
Yeah, it was. And that's not really true for people in their 20s and 30s now.
Yeah.
They tend not to have, it's not like it's a thing for them, where it was a thing before.
Yeah.
And
An extra room or a garage that was just for listening to
bedroom
music
or
or your
something.
bedroom. Yeah.
But you know, the thing is that music works on so many levels. You know, it can be background, it can be foreground, but it can get your creative juices flowing. You can dance to it. I mean, there's a lot of ways that people experience music, and having a great sound system can reach you in ways that a less good sound system can't. And that's why it became a big deal. And there was an obsession or an interest in gear, in the stuff, you know, the way
Right.
it looks, the
A
knobs.
lot of gear guys.
Yeah, you know, just the stuff and the mythology that goes with the stuff. You know, the man, usually a man, who designed it and what he did, what was his point of view,
Right.
became relevant. It's like why people buy Ferraris, because Enzo Ferrari was a really smart guy and he made fast cars that were cool,
Right,
right?
right.
So it's not just a car, it has a mystique that goes along with the car.
Right.
And in high-end audio, a corral amplifier isn't just a metal box that amplifies signal, it's a machine that makes a sound that a man created. that was his obsession.
Well, there's certain things that the high-end audio can do that you can't find on. There's a certain level you get into, and then you have you become emotionally involved and you become immersed in it, and then you just sit back and you listen to the music. And I don't think people nowadays just sit back and just listen to the music. They're doing something else. The music is going on in the background or something like that. But maybe there's a need for it, or maybe there is an appreciation because vinyl is coming back. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that's great, vinyl never went away.
Right.
The thing that's new, let's say for the last 10 years in vinyl, is that younger people, it's their music. They're not listening to the Beatles or the Stones. They're listening to the music of their generation that's coming out on vinyl.
Right.
And the reason that it's coming out on vinyl is really basic. That's how bands can make money from recorded music. Because they can't make it once it's digital, it's free.
It's hard, yeah.
It's free.
It's hard to
But
make
you
money.
can't get an LP for free unless you steal it. I mean, the good old-fashioned kind of stealing.
And it's a lot harder
hard
to
to
make an LP for these bands, but they're doing it. And because I think it's not just for the money. I think they appreciate it and they want to be on vinyl. There's something permanent about it, you know, as well. So do you review records on there too? I mean, record players, right?
Turntables, yeah.
Turntables, yeah.
Occasionally.
But do you review music on there on CNET?
Sometimes. I mean, to be honest, I get paid by the click, and reviewing music on my blog or in an audio magazine doesn't really get that much attention.
Yeah.
So I don't do it that often, but
Right.
2 or 3 times a year I do a whole blog about music that I like.
Right. Because one of the problems, I mean, that I've had is where to find new music now, because there's so many different venues and everything is kind of segmented off, and unless you're into this cult or that cult, you don't hear a lot of things that's pretty good. And there's the late night TV shows, which are good, you know, are great. But it'd be nice to go to a place where you're just like, hey, this is a new band coming out, these are pretty good. You know,
Yeah, well,
that
actually,
kind
there
of
are
a
people
thing.
that have podcasts, and NPR.
Yeah.
NPR has one called All Songs Considered
Oh, okay.
on the NPR site. That's
about that.
really good. And you know, I get a lot of ideas from NPR. Actually, I just heard about a guy named Trombone Shorty, and he has a new record out. I forget what it's called, but it's the new Trombone Shorty record. And it's a New Orleans record, but it has, you know, allegiance to New Orleans history, but it sounds like a contemporary record
Right.
in the good sense.
Is that the guy that started as a little kid? And they interviewed him once on NPR, and he
think so.
used to, he was like a little kid playing, and he got a lot
That's
of
why he
attention.
was Shorty.
Yeah, that's
But
why he's Shorty, maybe.
anyway, it's a great record. It has a lot of variety. Some songs have vocals.
It's a new record?
It's a new record. That's what I'm bringing up. Oh, it's called, the name is so cool, too. It's called,
Well, Trombone Shorty is an easy name to remember.
yeah, so look
Just
for
look
that
up
guy.
Trombone
But anyway,
Shorty.
it's a great record because it's got, you know, vocals, but it's got like jazz things and little hip hop influence and stuff. So a lot of times when records try to go in too many places, it doesn't mean anything, but this kind of holds together. It's a really nice record, and I heard about that on NPR.
Okay, well, two more quick things. I'll let you go. 2 more quick questions I came up with just now. But one of the things about these audio shows that's a little bit disconcerting is everybody has these audiophile records that they listen to. You know what I mean?
I'm rolling my eyes.
Yeah, and then and every now and then you get a room or something. I don't know, maybe OHM or someone has regular things that people listen to, right? So yeah, I mean, why is that? Why doesn't? I mean, back in the old days, I mean, you used to go into the high-end and you used to be able to play regular records. Now it's just audiophile records.
People are old, and it helps to play music that's familiar with them.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear Trombone Shorty. They'd walk into the room and they go, "What is this? I don't know what this is." And they'd
But
go,
the recordings are good, aren't they?
Oh, you mean
The new
right.
recordings.
Well, they vary.
Okay.
They always do, but more bad than good.
Yeah. So it hasn't improved that much.
No, it hasn't improved. It's deteriorated because people making records and sort of the engineers and mastering engineers know that most of the music's going to be listened to in noisy environments. There aren't too many people sitting at home on their couch listening to music who are young. So they say, we got to make the sound okay when you're at the beach. You know,
Right, yeah.
That's the priority when you're making a record.
Instead of in the 1977 cruiser automobile AM radio
Right.
speakers
The thing
like
is,
before.
in the 60s, yeah, people listened to music in their car
Yeah.
and on the beach.
Right.
But I can guarantee you, being the right age, that everybody who liked music in the 60s had a hi-fi system.
Yeah.
Of whatever. I mean, I was a kid. I didn't have any money. I had a hi-fi system because it was a priority. So I had one. So everybody who liked music had some kind of home hi-fi system.
Yeah.
That's not true anymore.
Right, they don't even have cars anymore.
Cars.
But yeah, you used to have to get a pair of wheels and a stereo system. The last question I have for you, anything interesting about the show that you're excited about? Just
Well, I just got here, so I don't have a specific.
Oh, so you don't have a specific thing, you're
I
just
don't
going to
have a
wander
thing.
around and check
But
out.
I would say the room that I would direct you to is called Linear Tube Audio,
Yeah.
and the guy there, Mark Schneider, the kind of amplifiers that he's making are really interesting.
Okay.
But the guy who designs Linear Tube Audio is not the owner of the company, it's somebody he knows.
Right.
And that guy has been around the block, and he does very, very unconventional ways of designing tube electronics.
Interesting.
Anyway, my name is Steve Guttenberg. My blog on CNET, CNET, is called the Audiophiliac. And, check it out.
Audiophiliac. What's the website? www.cnet.com?
CNET.com/audiophiliac is how you get me.
Audiophiliac.
And I also have a YouTube channel, which they can get to just by Steve Guttenberg, that's my name, Audiophiliac.
Okay, on YouTube. All right. And is it videos or is it
Yeah,
just...
it's videos.
It's videos.
I make one every day.
One every day?
Every day.
Oh,
They're short,
Right,
like 2
okay.
minutes
Yeah.
or 3 minutes.
okay. Fantastic.
Whatever
again.
pops into my head
Yeah.
is a video.
Right,
As you can tell, a lot of things are in my head,
right,
but
right.
can't wait to get out. Anyway, enjoy the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. The other day I did a search. Did you know that there are just over 3 trillion trees on the planet, but that 15 billion disappear every year due to deforestation? I also learned from a pop-up ad that the plug-in I bought in a special year-end sale for $69 is now $29. Happy New Year. Evidently, the search engine had been tracking my searches and found it apropos to taunt my weakness for esoteric electronic gizmos and gullibility for year-end sales. But it's okay, I thought. The search engine's owner is probably doing something good with their money that I couldn't do. So I did another search for one of the owners of the famous search engine I used. What I found was his 3,305 horsepower yacht that looks like the Starship Enterprise suddenly lost its warp drive and fell into the ocean and is now floating upside down in the Blackwattle Bay. So after that, I did some soul searching and found a better search engine. Ecosia. With Ecosia, your searches are kept private, but it's not just a more secure way to search. It's also a more ethical one. Ecosia uses 80% of its surplus revenue to plant trees. Just go to ecosia.co/uncommon so they know you came from this podcast. So instead of water-faring starships with earthy names like Dragonfly and Sense, you can do something that actually makes real sense for the Earth. Help plant a tree. The exact address is https://ecosia/uncommon. That's just ecosia.co/uncommon. Bookmark it with the Uncommon code. Once you have it bookmarked, share it with a friend. Share it with an enemy. Bring it up on your next work meeting, on your next public conversation on the subway, or in the elevator, or into your dangling headphone cord while walking down the street. And be sure to tell your roommate, your cab driver, your doorman, the guy at the local bodega, your doctor, and your dog walker. And be sure to spell it out, ecosia.co/uncommon. And now, more from the New York Audio Show.
Order made this for us. They bespoke it for us to match all the equipment. Doesn't really look like that normally, but
It looks nice anyway.
gorgeous,
It looks
yeah.
gorgeous, yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, you were just pointing out that that's a reel-to-reel from, and that's new?
No, we're not selling these.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is- this
okay,
is-
because it
this
looks
is
like
a
an old
full-
Tandberg, I guess, sort of.
Well, it's a 40-year-old Techniques.
Yeah.
That's been remodded by a company called J-Quarter. And their information is all over there if you'd like to see it. But this is part of our history, just like our Techniques SL1200s and our turntable legacy. This is something that we've made a statement of in the past, and it's still performing today. And the J-Quarter updates these for modern use, and great for recording or playback of master tapes. And it's an expensive proposition, but it's just great to see a Techniques product still in use 40 years later.
Yeah, there's an analog sound, and people try to get it with the reel-to-reel.
Definitely,
Still,
and it
yeah.
has a very special feel. You know, when you hit that button and that tape is rolling at 15 inches a second, you know, it's just it's a part of history, you know, that we all love. As audiophiles, we just love to get back and get that feeling again. And, you know.
Well, maybe a reel-to-reel will come back. I mean, I kind of doubt it, but there are people out there that have
Yeah.
reel-to-reels.
Now, you go to a lot of the shows, so just about every show we go to these days, we see reel-to-reels.
Oh, really?
And they're used as part of the demonstration. You know, people love to just get that master tape sound and
Right,
or
right.
you know, play their own music that they've recorded themselves.
Right,
And
right.
it's just part of our history, and that's why we show it. We're not going to make reel-to-reels or anything like that. But it's,
Well, you
it's
do-
great to see it still working after 40 years and still part of our future as well as it was our past.
Well, talking about your future coming back to, your past coming back to haunt you in the future, you have a new, more affordable 1200 analog turntable.
Well,
So-
there's a bit of a story to it, and we came back to the U.S. market in 2015, January 2015, and at that time we came back as the Techniques brand with two systems, all high-res digital audio systems. But everyone that came in the room asked, "Hey, Bill, you know, where's the turntable? You know, I thought you guys were known for turntables." We said, "Well, there was no plan for a turntable, but." This is our high-res audio gear. And then the next CES show, we introduced a turntable because so many people asked us for that. And we brought back our legendary SL1200 control style to bring it to audiophile standards that with something called a coreless direct drive motor. That's the reason why we're building turntables again. And the coreless direct drive motor allows us to eliminate one of the issues that audiophiles had always had in their mind, something called cogging, with the motor mounted, with the platter mounted on the motor. Every motor creates some type of cogging and creates micro vibrations through the platter, through the plinth, and it may mar the sound for the ultimate audiophile setup. If you have a very revealing front end on your preamplifier, if you have a $25,000 system, you may hear these things. And with that coreless direct drive motor that we've added, that's allowed us to make even more improvements to the system, as it always was one of the best-selling turntables in the industry. DJs never had a problem with cogging because they used it in nightclubs and radio stations. You're never
So-
going to hear that sort of thing in that.
The original history, though, was more of an audiophile turntable before it became a DJ turntable?
Well, Techniques invented direct drive in 1970, and it was brought out for professional use, and I can show you some
DJs are
props
10
if you
or
like.
15 years later.
And these are radio stations that used records 24 hours a day. You know, they used the carts for the advertisements,
yeah.
but they always play the music was on a record, and they ran 24 hours a day. So the choice for them was idler drive or belt drive, and it required a lot of maintenance and things like that. So direct drive was embraced very much so by the professional industry. And in '72, we came out with the world's first kind of consumer SL1200, first iteration, and through many, many iterations from '72 onward all the way to about 2007, we made probably 6 or 8 different versions of SL1200s, and it's Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, Mark VI, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And every version added a feature or two or some control function or improvement based on what DJs learned from using them, based on what consumers reported, based on our engineers developing them. And that's what we've improved over the years, and we've sold more of this series. The legend is close to 4 million turntables in that 1200 series over all those years. So it's quite a story, and what we wanted to do is pay homage to that classic, right? So we kept the look, we kept the styling, everything about it is very similar in style and operation to the original 1200 series, but we've improved everything that our engineers could tweak out every last bit of performance from it. So we've improved the tone arm. It's a magnesium tone arm. It's much higher sensitivity. It's the motor itself creates more torque and more momentum inertia than our SP10 Mark II, which is, you know,
That was the last one,
that was one of the best professional series made.
right? And that came out when?
Not sure exactly what year that was, but that was in the 70s.
That was-
You know,
okay,
they had
yes.
3 versions of that too, and we have a new version coming next year. So, and we improved the platter. It's a 3-layer platter. It's a 4-layer plinth. It's got zinc footers with silicone to support that. Ideally, it weighs about 40 pounds. You know, it's a behemoth of a turntable. And what we tried to do after that became so popular, we sold so many of these that we wanted to bring it down to more consumers. This is half the price of, less than half the
Yeah, it's the GR, right?
It's the GR, 1200 GR, and we wanted to.
This is brand new.
experience to, yeah, this came out actually in January this year.
Okay.
And this has basically all style-wise, performance, operationally, it's very, very similar, if not identical. It's just that we had to trim the price down a lot, so raw materials contribute quite a bit to turntables. So this has a 2-layer platter, a 2-layer plinth, an aluminum tone arm, lighter weight dust cover, you know, weighs 26 pounds as opposed to 40 pounds. So a lot of the raw materials add up, and when you're building these by hand, essentially, the motors are built by hand. They can build about 30 motors a day with the G model. It's a hand-built process. They're made in a Japanese factory, so the craftsmanship is impeccable, and we expect these to last like 25 years, just like the original 1200s lasted. They're just workhorses of the industry. And that's why we wanted to bring this to more of an audience. And it's $1,700 suggested retail price.
Right, the price is okay, but you're getting some people in here, so I'll try to wrap it up. But the main concern, since my audience is a cross-section of people, we do have a couple people who are DJs in there, and it seems like it's geared a little bit toward what this show is geared towards, which is the audiophiles, which is what you were mostly talking about, is the sound quality. But there's little things that the DJs would prefer. Are you going to ever come out with a DJ version that goes back to, it's maybe a little bit cheap, because they're buying $900, they're buying the old 1200s.
Yeah, on the used market, you can buy them and use those, but the DJ wouldn't
Or
necessarily.
maybe an official used version like BMW does or something like that.
Well, the DJs wouldn't necessarily appreciate the benefits of the coreless motor, as we discussed, because in a club, you're not really going to need that. But this has been DJ proven. We've taken this and took the 1200 Mark V out of a very popular club in New York City, one of the biggest nightclubs in New York City, and we plopped this new one right in there, and we had the DJs use it all night.
And
they said,
this
"Listen,
is digital now instead of, right?
it's a slightly different feel, so
Yeah.
they have to a little bit getting used to say, but it's not a deal breaker. Every other respect, we like it. We love the tone arm, and we like its ability not to vibrate, and no skipping issues, no feedback issues.
So you can
we
use
love
it as
the
a
way it's-
DJ table.
absolutely.
Is there
it's
going to
ready
be,
for
though,
prime
a
time.
kit or any kind of a different
this point-
version that maybe you might tailor more towards that market?
Nothing
Because it's just
has
a
been
couple
announced yet.
small changes, then some of the people are kind of moving gear, parts from the old turntable over to the new one.
Nothing's been announced yet, but it's certainly something to consider. I don't know what we'll do about that, but at the moment, they do have this option, and it's a very good option, and
Yeah, a lot of people have two
doing very well
turntables
with
in the high-end market these days as well. And you've got it plays the 33 and
78
the
also.
78 when you hold them both down.
Yep.
And
Vertical
there's nothing like
tracking
having
angle on the
and
fly.
It comes in black as well, right?
not in the U.S. yet.
Oh, not in the U.S. Oh, okay. And what cartridge does it come with?
It doesn't come with a cartridge.
Doesn't
We
come
leave
with a
that up to
cartridge.
you because that's personal preference, and we don't corral you into one particular choice. There's a wide range of cartridges that it can use. So.
Right. And real quick, and you can attach with this new version your own interconnects in the back, right? And all that
Absolutely, and
other
you can,
stuff.
like
Just
on
all
this one,
high-end
we're using a
audiophiles.
better grade of interconnect and a better grade of power cable, and all those things can
All
improve
throughout.
things. Yeah, we have a really nice level that comes with it. It's just you can improve that if you want. You can make some tweaks and things.
Well, you got some people in here to listen, and it's it's the most probably the most famous turntable out there, maybe next to the Lynn Sondeck, perhaps. So it's great to know that you brought it back into the market, and then it's going high end, and who knows what it's going to be in the future. So you just real quick for those people listening, you have 3 models now, right?
Well, we have two. We have
Two
the
models.
first model was called the SL1200 GAE. That was anniversary edition. That's what the AE stands for. There were 1,200 made globally.
Right, and those go for how much?
Well, they were all $4,000. It's just
Okay.
that was a limited edition, and they sold out virtually instantly.
Which is not expensive in a high-end market, actually.
And this is the replacement for it. That is unlimited edition. It's also $4,000. And then this is the GR, which is less than half the price. So there's two turntables that we're selling currently, and then we're introducing two more next year, which is the rebirth of our professional model that I told you what started, where we used the first direct drive motor system was the SP10.
Right.
This is called the SP10R reference, and it can drop in the same place that if you still have one of these in use, you can take the SP10 out and drop the new SP10 in.
Okay, so exactly the same.
And this is the coreless direct drive motor taken to the utmost extreme. It's like
You
four
have a separate
times
power
what we've
supply,
got.
I notice, on
Yeah,
it, yeah.
power supply, speed control. It's like a 16, 17-pound platter. And we'll also make that in a complete turntable system.
Right.
So it'll be a turntable, a bass, a cover, and a tone arm
Right.
as well. And that'll be even higher price. We haven't announced a price yet, but that's coming in summer of 2018.
Right. And yeah, because there was a lot of people, before you reintroduced your turntable, there was companies out there would modify, nonstop. I mean, they keep.
Well, they had
they modify
modifications of the
old ones,
1200.
The
yeah.
old used one, right.
But now our engineers.
So this is completely
have applied that to
redesigned.
this. Everything has been completely redesigned. As much as it looks similar, and as much as people walk in this room, they say, "Hey, it's great to see these old 1200s." Some people don't know that we brought these back,
Right.
and they look at it, and that's the idea. We wanted to keep that style, that look, that feel. It's an experience. The 1200 it's a 1200 experience. So
This one's
is
coming out when?
summertime.
Summertime. And the price you said on that one?
We don't have a price yet, but it's going to be, it's a real true audiophile turntable that can be a professional model.
Where's the tone arm? As in the picture, there's no tone arm.
And the tone arms, a lot of these radio stations, a lot of the studios are using more than one tone arm. You can use,
Right. They've got,
potentially you can add multiple tone arms depending on what bass.
right, a lot of the high-end ones have one for 78s or
One for mono, yeah.
and
Or
one
two
for-
different, maybe a
right.
moving coil and a moving magnet.
right, exactly.
A lot of flexibility. So this is what the professional use always had allowed this series.
And this is going to be more audiophile or more professional? Both.
It'll be audiophile by nature because of the coreless motor
gonna
and
be
because
good,
everything that you hear, even if you drop this into your old plinth and use whatever you had all these years, you will hear a big improvement with this. And the specifications on the SP10 were unbelievable. Minus 92 decibels sound signal to noise ratio, unheard of. I mean, these are minus 72, and that's an incredible specification when it comes to signal to noise ratio. That's only direct drive is really, really great at specification.
One of the things, some high-end audio people, I got my own, but some high-end audio people are kind of not into this direct drive or the way the tone arm looks, and other people love it. One of the things I found is that, it seems to work better with old records. You clean them up and you bring them in. This kind of system seems to work a lot better than some of the fancier ones with old, cleaned up records, you know what I mean? I don't know why. Maybe it's a tracking. I don't know what it is.
Some of the benefits of the S-arm one of the main ones is that it's a detachable head shell. So if you take a look at what I have over here, I'm using a particular cartridge. Your shoelace is untied, by the way.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I don't want to fall over and break $50,000 worth of equipment.
So I'm using a cartridge that's mounted in a head shell that I can have three different versions. So I have a stereo version, mono. This is actually a strapped mono version. So I'm playing that sonically. I'm hearing the sound properly, and I'm also have a proper stylus tip for that. And this is for 78s, and it's a proper stylus tip for 78. They all weigh the same amount.
Okay,
so in
so you just
5
pop 'em in and
seconds,
out.
I can have this. I don't really have to pay attention to changing the tracking weight a little bit. They like to have 0.2 of a gram more, but it sounds fine.
Right.
And within 5 seconds, I'm ready to play, and that's what I like about the S. Some turntables that don't have interchangeable head shells, that's a whole afternoon.
Right.
To change that.
Right, or they get a second arm and all that other expense and all
Complicated and
that
expensive.
stuff.
This is, and I get the same type of sonic signature because it's the same cartridge body. So I like that ability, and it works very well for us. And
Yeah, and those old mono records, especially
And
the
I
Elvis
love
Presley
finding those
ones,
old
a lot
stuff.
of people it's great,
When you play the old records if it's a true mono record and you play it with a mono cartridge, you'll notice less surface noise because it's not a stereo picking up left and right clicks and pops. It's a little more enjoyable, and you'll hear part of the groove that you may not have heard properly before. So.
there's a lot of benefits and reasons to get one of these tables, even as your primary table or as a secondary table. I think it's just great.
They take a lot of abuse if you're that type of person. I mean, they can be manhandled. They can, you don't have to think real hard about operating. They're easy to set
sometimes
up.
I don't think about, or if you do it on the side, is you have an audiophile turntable with you. Okay, great. Thanks a lot. What was your name
Thanks
again?
very much, Bill Voss. Pleasure talking with you.
This is Tom Howell. You just heard the season premiere of the UnCommonCore podcast, episode 21, the New York Audio Show, part 1. As usual, I'll have links to everything on our blog at www.uncommoncorepodcast.com or www.uccpodcast.com. Remember, ecosia.co/uncommon. Thank you, Joe Frank. Rest in peace. Follow us on Pinterest and check out our episode boards at pinterest.com/uncommoncorepod/boards. Be a patron. Go to www.patreon.com/UCC podcast. That's www.patreon.com/UCC podcast. For advertising on the UnCommonCore podcast, go to www.advertisecast.com/1306. That's advertisecast.com/1306. Think 13 6-year-olds. Listen to us at Radio Public, PRX, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Deezer, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and your mom's house.
You've been listening to the Uncommon Core podcast with Thomas Howell. I'm Satoko Smith. Thank you for listening.